From childhood, many of us have been taught one single image of what an ideal elder should be, and it's almost always painted with the colors of selflessness. We were told that good seniors are those who spend their later years surrounded by grandchildren, content to sit quietly in the background, living frugally, eating the leftovers, and saving the best for their children. We were told that the right way to age is to keep giving, to never complain, to never say no. As if once you grow old, your personal needs, your desires, and your individuality should all be erased. As if your only remaining purpose is to serve, to give, to be endlessly patient and endlessly invisible. That belief became a web, a thick, sticky web that has trapped generations of older men and women. They carried their families' burdens on shoulders already bent by time. They treated their children's emotions as their own weather forecast. If their son was unhappy, they couldn't sleep. If their daughter was struggling, they felt guilty for smiling. They kept compressing their own needs, hobbies, and dreams into one quiet sentence. "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." They thought this was noble. They thought this was love. But what it really was a gentle kind of cruelty to themselves. Slow, lifelong self-erasure. You see, in many American families, this same silent martyrdom exists. It may not look exactly like in the old stories from Asia, but you can find it in every mother who gave up her hobbies to babysit, in every father who cashed out his savings to help an adult child buy a house, in every grandparent who keeps saying, "I don't need anything." They believe this is greatness, but it's not. It's the quietest form of self-abandonment. Part 2. Learning from the stories around us. Think of the TV show This Is Us. So many older parents in that series carry the emotional weight of their children's choices. They give and give, until one day they realize no one even asks what they want anymore. Or imagine an old man named George, who worked hard his whole life, paid off his house, raised 3 children, and finally retired. He thought retirement meant peace, but instead it became a second round of unpaid labor, helping with grandkids, fixing everyone's problems, loaning money he'd never get back. He told himself it was love, but love shouldn't always feel like exhaustion. When George's wife died for the first time, he faced silence, and he realized he didn't even know what he liked anymore. That's when something shifted. He began taking morning walks, joined a small book club, bought himself a bright red jacket just because he liked it. His children called him selfish, but for the first time in decades, George felt free. This is the quiet revolution many older adults go through, the discovery that selfishness, when done right, is not a sin. It is the beginning of healing. Part 3. Redefining selfish as wisdom. The word selfish sounds ugly. It brings to mind greed, arrogance, disregard for others. But in truth, for an older person, healthy selfishness means something entirely different. Means self-protection. Means self-respect. It means finally saying, "My life still belongs to me." To be selfish in this stage of life is to say, "I will no longer exhaust myself to meet everyone's expectations. I will no longer apologize for wanting peace, rest, or joy. I will finally allow myself to be someone, not just serve someone." Think of someone like Jane Goodall, who, even in her late 80s, continues to travel, write, and speak her truth. Not because the world demands it, but because her soul does. Or Maya Angelou, who in her later years didn't chase approval or wealth. She simply wrote what mattered to her, lived on her own terms, and radiated strength. That's the kind of selfish the world needs more of. In this sense, selfishness is a kind of late-life intelligence, a wisdom earned through decades of giving too much. It is not about taking from others, but about taking back what was yours all along. Your time, your boundaries, your freedom to say no. Part 4. The 3 boundaries every older adult must guard. There are 3 invisible boundaries that protect an elder's peace: emotional, responsibility, and lifestyle boundaries. Lose them, and life becomes a blur of exhaustion. Guard them, and your final decades can be your most peaceful and fulfilling. 1. Emotional boundary. My feelings belong to me. Many parents carry their children's emotions like heavy luggage. If their adult child fights with a spouse, they can't sleep. If their daughter loses her job, they feel personally ashamed. They live as emotional caretakers, trapped in guilt and worry. But wise elders know, you can care without carrying. You can offer comfort without absorbing another's chaos. As the American writer Louise Hay once said, you are responsible for your own thoughts and feelings, not for anyone else's. Doesn't mean being cold. It means staying steady. You can love your children and still protect your peace. 2. Responsibility boundary. Your life, your responsibility. Too many older adults were raised to believe in raising children to depend on you forever. So they pay their kids' debts, raise the grandkids full-time, even neglect their own health to help out. But life doesn't work that way. Every generation must carry its own weight. True love helps people stand, not lean forever. An older friend of mine, Margaret, once told me, I raised my kids to be independent, not entitled. She helps when she can, but she never lets her children's problems swallow her own life. That's not selfish. That's emotionally mature. 3. Lifestyle boundary. My days are mine to design. After retirement, many seniors find their days being scheduled by others. You shouldn't travel alone. Don't wear bright colors. You can't eat that, you're old. But your later years are your time to live, not to perform obedience. Whether it's tending your garden, painting, dancing, joining a community choir, or learning Italian, your hobbies keep your spirit alive. As Grandma Moses, the famous American folk artist, once said when she began painting in her 70s, it's never too late to start something new. She became world famous in her 80s. That's what living with boundaries looks like. Not rebellion but self-respect. But let's be honest. Many older adults, especially those who grew up in the post-war decades, were taught that being good meant self-sacrifice. It meant never asking too much, never complaining, never saying no. It meant saving every penny for your kids' college, even if it meant eating soup for dinner. It meant spending your last ounce of energy watching the grandkids while pretending your back didn't hurt. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that love should not mean erasing yourself. Many of our parents and grandparents lived like that. They gave and gave until there was nothing left. They passed quietly, often without ever being truly known, because their entire lives were spent serving others. That's not nobility. That's tragedy disguised as virtue. It's time for a new definition of what it means to age with grace. Being a loving parent or grandparent doesn't mean you must sacrifice your peace of mind or your joy. Doesn't mean that your worth depends on how much you give. It means learning to balance compassion with self-respect. It means understanding that your children's lives are their responsibility, and your happiness is your own. The truth is, overgiving breeds entitlement, not gratitude. When you give without limits, you teach others to take without awareness. You unintentionally train your loved ones to believe your sacrifices are endless. And when the day comes that you finally say no, they are shocked, even offended. So what's the alternative? It's simple, healthy boundaries. 1. Emotional boundaries. Your feelings belong to you. Too many older adults carry the emotional weight of their families. When their children argue, they lose sleep. When a grandchild is upset, they feel anxious. When the family is unhappy, they take it personally, as if their love or effort has failed. But the truth is, your family's happiness is not your job. You can care deeply without becoming emotionally entangled. Think about someone like Eleanor Roosevelt, who faced unimaginable challenges, including loss, criticism, and loneliness. Yet she learned to maintain emotional independence. She cared about the world deeply, but she didn't let the world destroy her peace. As older adults, we can learn from that. You can offer advice, listen with compassion, and even shed a tear. But don't let your family's storms become your personal weather. You deserve your own sunshine. Your children's moods are their responsibility. Your peace of mind is yours to protect. 2. Responsibility boundaries. Their lives, their choices. Many of us grew up believing in the saying, raise children so they can care for you in old age. But in modern reality, that belief often turns into disappointment, or worse, dependence. Your adult children have their own lives, just as you did when you were their age. They are responsible for their own homes, marriages, and careers. If they struggle, you can lend a hand, but it's not your duty to fix everything. You've already spent decades giving. You are allowed to rest now. Think of someone like Harper Lee, the author of To Kill a Mockingbird. She lived a quiet, self-directed life, never marrying or having children, yet she was fulfilled because she followed her own rhythm. She didn't live to meet anyone else's expectations. That's the kind of calm independence we can all aspire to in later years. You can support your children, but don't carry their burdens on your back. You've earned your right to breathe freely. 3. Lifestyle boundaries. Your life, your rules. After retirement, many seniors lose control over their own daily lives. Their children decide what they should eat, what clothes are appropriate, where they should live, even what kind of friends they should have. But here's the truth. You have every right to design your own days. You want to dye your hair red at 75? Go for it. You want to start painting or dancing lessons at 82? Do it. You want to travel solo to Italy, take a cruise, or volunteer at a local shelter? Why not? Remember, you spent a lifetime following schedules and meeting responsibilities. Now, at last, you have earned the right to live by your own clock. Many seniors who thrive in old age share one trait. They refuse to surrender control of their own routines. They still plan their meals, manage their own money, and decide how to spend their afternoons. That control is not stubbornness, it's dignity. It's a sign that your spirit is still alive and vibrant. The deeper meaning of selfishness. The word selfish has long been treated like a sin. But in truth, for older adults, selfishness can be a form of self-respect. It doesn't mean harming others or being greedy. It means finally acknowledging that your life matters too. Being selfish means you no longer ignore your own needs. You spend time doing what fills your heart. You stop apologizing for putting yourself first. It's not arrogance. It's awakening. When Mrs. Laura from Wisconsin turned 80, she decided to stop babysitting every weekend. She told her daughter, "Honey, I've earned my Sundays. I want to go to church, have brunch with friends, and read by the lake." First, her daughter was hurt. But soon she saw her mother's joy return, her energy, her laughter. That was when she realized her mother's self-care wasn't selfishness. It was strength, economic self-reliance. Keep something for yourself. Too many older people give away everything. Their savings, their homes, even their pensions, believing it will guarantee their children's love. But love cannot be bought with sacrifice. In fact, giving away your security often leads to resentment and loss of respect. Keep a financial safety net for yourself. Keep your name on your home. Keep your independence. Money doesn't just buy comfort, it buys freedom, choice, and dignity. When you can pay for your own needs, you never have to ask permission to live the way you want. That's real security. You worked hard your whole life. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of that labor. Space and solitude. A room of one's own. True happiness in later life often comes from having space. Physical, emotional, and spiritual space. A corner that belongs only to you. For yourself. Because you, just as you are right now, deserve a life filled with dignity, laughter, freedom, and joy. Subscribe and stay with us for more heartfelt reflections on aging, freedom, and the beauty of living for yourself. Finally, Yellow Heart. Many people fear solitude, but solitude can be beautiful. It's a time to read, to garden, to walk the dog, to paint, or simply to breathe. It's not loneliness, it's peace. Philosopher Henry David Thoreau once said, "I never found the companion that was so companionable as solitude." The older we get, the more we understand that truth. You don't have to be surrounded by people to feel alive. You just need to be surrounded by things and thoughts that make your heart quiet and content. Joy and pleasure. Give yourself permission to enjoy. Many older adults live with an invisible rulebook. Don't spend too much, don't travel too far, don't be silly. But why not? Why not laugh loudly, dance, or eat that dessert? Why not fall in love again, start something new, or simply treat yourself to something beautiful? The years ahead are not meant to be endured. They are meant to be enjoyed. When the Taiwanese-American writer Lin Haiyin was in her 80s, she said, "The most important thing in the second half of life is to stay happy. Happiness is not a luxury. It's nourishment for the soul. You've already given decades to others. Now give joy to yourself. Let go of guilt." So many older adults feel guilty for wanting something for themselves. A quiet afternoon, a little trip, a new hobby. But guilt is a chain that keeps you from freedom. You don't owe anyone a lifetime of sacrifice. If your children accuse you of being selfish, smile and say, "Yes, I finally am." Because real love doesn't require endless giving. Real love respects boundaries. Remember this. Your happiness is not a betrayal of your family. Your independence is not a rejection of love. Your self-care is not selfish. It's sacred. A new definition of aging gracefully. Aging gracefully doesn't mean fading quietly into the background. It means standing tall in your truth, loving deeply but wisely, and living freely without apology. As the great author Virginia Woolf wrote, "The world is your own." And in your later years, that truth becomes even more profound. This chapter of life is not a decline. It's an awakening. It's the time to gather all the wisdom, strength, and courage you've earned, and live in a way that finally feels right. So, my dear friend, be brave enough to be selfish. Eat what you crave. Wear what makes you feel beautiful. Say no when you need to. Say yes when your heart lights up. Your later years belong to you, and only you. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to care.